Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's get straight to it.
Let's do it.
You're learning English, right? You keep finding new words,
Mm-hmm.
but they just, don't seem to stick. Does that sound about right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a frustration I think almost every language learner feels.
Right. You put the work in, but then poof, it's gone.
Exactly. The recall just isn't there. We want to fix that today.
So our source for this deep dive, it's a really good discussion from the English Sleep podcast.
Yeah, the How to Remember Words Easily episode.
That's the one. It's a chat between two English teachers, Aaron and Evan, and they shared some, really practical, useful stuff.
And our goal here, well, it's pretty simple. We want to pull out the most effective, actionable techniques from what they said.
Yeah, so you can start building that English vocabulary, more easily, less annoyance.
Think of it as a bit of a shortcut, to making those new words actually become your words.
Okay, so Aaron and Evan, they started by looking at why it's so hard in the first place. They used this image of a leaky bucket.
That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Your memory is the bucket.
Right.
And the new words are water you pour in. But if there are leaks, well, if you don't actively try to keep it in,
It just drains
it
out.
just drains away, yeah.
And they also mentioned the forgetting curve. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty eye-opening.
Apparently, within 24 hours, we can forget something like 80% of new stuff.
80%
Yeah.
if we don't reinforce it.
Exactly, which really shows why just, seeing a word on a list once,
Uh-huh.
it's not magic. It's not going to make it stick long term.
Not at all. It really highlights why you need, actual strategies,
Mhm.
proactive ones.
Okay, so let's get into those strategies, ways to plug the leaks, right?
Right. And their first big one was about making words personal.
This just makes so much sense, doesn't it?
It really does. Our brains are just wired that way. We remember things that, matter to us, things with some feeling attached.
Yeah, it's not just about the definition in the book. It's connecting the word to your world.
Precisely. And they had some really good examples. Aaron talked about exquisite.
Oh, the cafe one? Yeah.
Exactly. He linked it to this specific cafe, remembering the incredibly beautiful pastries, the cozy atmosphere. So exquisite became more than just beautiful. It was tied to that whole sensory experience.
It gives it a hook.
Yeah, that emotional tag, even a small one, seems to really help lock it in memory. It's fascinating how that works.
And Evan, he had one for nostalgia, right?
Mm-hmm. For him, it instantly brought back these really vivid childhood memories.
Mm-hmm.
Summers at his grandma's place.
Riding bikes, ice cream.
Sunsets, yeah. That whole carefree feeling. So now, nostalgia isn't just a word. It's anchored in that rich personal memory.
So if you think about the big picture, it means learning vocabulary isn't just studying.
Right. It's about actively looking for those personal links. You give the word a stronger foothold in your memory that way.
Like an address in your brain you can find again?
Exactly. So the action step for you listening is when you learn a new word, stop and think.
Ask yourself, how does this relate to my life?
Yeah, what story or feeling or memory can I attach to this? Give it that personal anchor.
Okay, cool. Strategy number 2 was about visuals, creating mental pictures.
Yeah, this taps into something called dual coding theory. Basically, our brains handle pictures and words kind of differently.
Okay.
So if you create a mental image for a word, you're essentially creating two ways to remember it, a word pathway and a picture pathway. Makes it stronger.
Ah, gotcha. Doubling your chances. And they had some good examples here, too.
Definitely. Evan mentioned serendipity,
Mm-hmm.
that happy accident, finding something good unexpectedly.
Right.
He pictured finding a random $2 bill in a park.
Huh. Yeah, that's memorable. It's specific and positive.
Exactly. And for lavish, meaning really rich and extravagant,
Uh-huh.
the image was this huge banquet table, just overflowing with gold stuff, fruit, candles.
Okay, yeah, you can picture that. Total extravagance. Much better than just reading rich.
Way more impactful and for meticulous,
Yeah.
meaning super careful and precise.
What was the image for that one?
Imagine a jeweler, really focused, setting tiny little diamonds into a ring.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that captures it, that intense focus.
And they even said the more vivid or, even a bit silly the image is,
the better it sticks.
often, yeah, that little bit of weirdness or novelty makes the image stand out more in your memory.
So it's okay if my mental cartoon is a bit strange.
Absolutely. Sometimes the stranger, the better. So the task here is get creative.
Make a mini movie in your head.
Yeah, or just a snapshot. Whatever works to bring that word to life visually. Okay, strategy 3. This one sounds simple, but it's key. Practice, practice, practice.
The classic advice. But it's classic for a reason, right?
Absolutely. Think back to that leaky bucket again.
Right.
Practice is like constantly topping up the water. You have to keep doing it to counteract the natural forgetting process.
And Aaron mentioned something about actually using the words soon after learning them.
Yeah, he noticed he always remembered words better if he used them in conversation quickly.
Speaking, it makes it real somehow.
Yeah, seems to, yeah. And Evan shared his own little system for the word peculiar.
Peculiar, meaning like strange or unusual.
Exactly. He made a point of using it 3 times in one week.
Okay.
Once talking to someone, once when he was journaling, and once in a group chat.
So different contexts too.
Right. That repeated, varied usage really helped cement it in his active vocabulary.
So the actionable thing for you is don't just learn the word, use the word.
Yes, as soon as you can. Find chances. Talk, write, even just say it out loud to yourself.
Doesn't matter if you sound a bit crazy talking to yourself.
Not at all. The key is multiple uses,
Yeah.
different ways.
Got it. Active engagement.
The more you actively work with the word, the stronger those brain pathways get. Makes it easier to pull it out next time.
Okay, strategy 4 moves into active recall and spaced repetition. They called this memory push-ups.
Haha. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Active recall is basically testing yourself.
Not just rereading the list.
Exactly.
Really?
Close the book, hide the definition, and force your brain to retrieve the word and its meaning. That struggle, that effort,
That's what strengthens the memory?
that's the idea.
Huh.
It makes the connection stronger because your brain had to work for it.
Okay. And spaced repetition. That's about when you review, right?
Precisely. It's much smarter than cramming. Spaced repetition means reviewing words at, like, increasing time intervals.
So like review today.
Then maybe again in a day, then maybe 3 days later, then a week later, and so on.
Okay.
The timing is designed to catch your brain just before it starts to forget, reinforcing the memory and pushing it towards long-term storage.
That makes sense. Sort of interrupting the forgetting curve.
Exactly. And they mentioned tools for this, didn't they? Apps like Anki, Quizlet.
Yeah, those are great because they automate the schedule for you. Takes the guesswork out of it.
So the advice here is start testing yourself. Don't just reread.
Yes. And set up some kind of review schedule with increasing gaps between reviews.
Combine that effort of recall with the smart timing.
And you're really boosting your chances of making those words permanent.
Okay, strategy number 5. Learning words in context. This one really clicked for me.
Oh yeah, hugely important. Trying to memorize words just from a list.
It's like trying to learn puzzle pieces without seeing the box picture.
That's a perfect analogy. Or like knowing ingredients but having no recipe. Context shows you how the word works, how it's actually used.
It makes the meaning clearer and just stickier.
Definitely. They used frigid as an example.
Meaning extremely cold.
Right. But just knowing the definition isn't as powerful as hearing it in a sentence like, the wind was so frigid it felt like tiny needles on my skin. Ooh, yeah. That gives you the feeling of it. Much more memorable.
Exactly. Or, for peculiar, the sentence, he has a peculiar habit of always wearing mismatched socks.
Ha. Okay, that paints a picture. Slightly odd, maybe amusing?
Right. It clarifies the meaning and gives it a memorable little scenario. Context gives you clues about, like, the word's flavor, its connotations.
And they also said context helps bring in those personal connections we talked about earlier.
Yeah, naturally. Words like nostalgic or sophisticated often pop up in stories or descriptions you can relate to.
So the takeaway is, don't just learn the word in a sentence.
Yes. Pay attention when you're reading or listening. How are people actually using this word? Look at the whole sentence, the situation.
Learn it in its natural habitat.
Exactly. You get a much deeper, more intuitive understanding that way. It's not just memorizing, it's really learning.
Okay. And the final strategy, number 6. This one was a bit surprising. Teaching.
Yeah, the idea that explaining a word to someone else is actually a super effective way to remember it yourself.
How does that work?
Well, teaching forces you to process the information much more deeply. You can't just repeat the definition.
You have to understand it well enough to explain it in your own words.
Exactly. You have to rephrase it, find examples. That whole process of active reformulation really strengthens your own grasp of it.
Evan had an example, right? Explaining flustered.
He explained it to his cousin by describing that feeling, when you're running late, can't find your keys, can't find your phone.
Oh, yeah, total panic mode.
Right. Putting it in that relatable scenario helped his cousin get it, but it also locked it in better for Evan himself.
Makes sense. And they had one for charming, too.
Yeah, explaining it like, Uh, a person who's just naturally pleasant makes you feel good.
Or like that cozy little cafe.
Right. Or a friendly neighbor. You're making those personal connections again, but you're verbalizing them, sharing them.
So the advice is try explaining new words,
Yeah,
even if it feels weird.
absolutely. Explain it to a friend, a study buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, even explain it to your cat or dog.
Ah, okay.
Seriously, just the act of putting it into your own words, finding your own examples, it really cements it in your brain
It forces you to build your own definition almost.
and reinforces it through speaking it out loud.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so let's just quickly run through those 6 strategies again. We had make words personal,
Create visual association,
practice, 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 use them.
active recall, and spaced repetition. Test yourself.
Learn words in context, see how they're used.
And finally, teach them to someone else.
Wow, okay. That's a solid toolkit. Using even a few of those should really make a difference.
Definitely. And, the podcast episode itself, the one we've been talking about, it was full of great vocabulary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their colleague Charlotte actually pointed out 10 specific words they used. It's kind of cool to see them in action right after discussing how to learn them. Should we quickly go through those?
Yeah, let's do it. Great way to reinforce. What was the first one?
Exquisite, meaning beautifully made, elegant, finely detailed.
Ugh, like Aaron's Cafe pastries. The example was the restaurant had an exquisite menu filled with gourmet dishes.
Perfect. Then, frigid, extremely cold.
Right. The weather was so frigid that we had to stay indoors all day. You feel that one.
Mm-hmm. Next, serendipity. That lovely idea of a happy accident or pleasant surprise.
Like finding the $2 bill, the example. It was pure serendipity that I ran into an old friend at the airport.
Love that word. Then, meticulous. Super careful, precise, great attention to detail.
Like the jeweler, she's meticulous about organizing her workspace. Good for describing someone organized.
Definitely. Then we had peculiar, strange or unusual.
Ah, yes, Evan's practice word. He has a peculiar habit of eating pizza with a fork. Still makes me chuckle.
Yeah. Okay, next. Lavish, meaning rich, luxurious, extravagant.
Like the banquet table image. The party was a lavish affair with golden decorations and gourmet food. Paints a picture of excess.
It does. Then, nostalgic. That sentimental longing for the past.
Like Evan's childhood summers. Looking at my old school photos always makes me nostalgic. Very relatable.
Very. Next. Sophisticated, meaning elegant, refined, maybe well-educated.
Yeah.
Having good taste.
Right. Her outfit was so sophisticated it looked like something out of a fashion magazine. Classy.
Exactly. Then flustered,
Mm-hmm.
agitated, nervous, confused, maybe hurried.
Like when you're late and can't find your phone. I always get flustered when I can't find my phone while running late.
That stressed feeling.
We've all been there. And finally, charming. Pleasant and attractive.
Like the little bookstore example. The little bookstore was so charming I didn't want to leave. Just makes you feel good.
Exactly. So, yeah, 10 great words right there in the source material itself.
That's brilliant. It shows how you can learn vocabulary just by paying attention during conversations or, listening to things like that podcast.
Absolutely. And the big takeaway from all this really is consistency.
Right. It's not about learning hundreds of words overnight.
No, it's about consistently applying maybe just 1 or 2 of these strategies to make each word really stick. Quality over quantity. Make it stick like glue. That focus seems much more effective in the long run.
Which kind of leads to a final thought for you listening.
Oh, yeah.
Think about one new English word. Just one. Maybe one you learned recently, one you're struggling with.
Okay. Got one in mind.
Now, just pick one of these strategies we talked about. Just one.
Like, could you make a quick visual for it? Even a silly one.
Or could you think of a personal connection, a memory, a feeling? Try applying just that one technique to that one word. See if it makes a difference. See if that little bit of focused effort helps it stick this time.